Hello, and welcome back to my show. Today, we're going to be talking about reasons why you should not hire an online fitness coach. And this is coming from me as an online fitness coach. So, before I became an online fitness coach, I got my own online fitness coach. And even while I'm still an online fitness coach, I got another online fitness coach. So, I've had two online coach experiences. They were very different. And so today I want to kind of help you choose an online fitness coach, like tell you what are some characteristics of a good one and what are some characteristics of a bad one. And then I also want to break down the types of clients that I've had and the ones that I've noticed have worked well with me and have succeeded and accomplished their goals, as well as the ones who weren't a great fit for online coaching and kind of how to tell if you're a good fit for an online coach, okay? We're doing it in my relaxed position again because, I don't know, I feel like this is a relaxed video. It's more opinion-based. I've actually made a majority of my progress in the gym on my own. And the first coach that I actually got a coach to coach me as a coach. That was the first coach that I got, and she more so coached me in my business. But I had a fucking splendid time working with her. How it would work was we would get on a call once a week, and on that call, she would kind of help me figure out what it was that I needed to do to get closer to my personal business goals. And every week, I had someone to report to be like, hey, did you do the things that you said that you were going to do? And because I was paying her, it's not that I didn't know what I needed to be doing to get closer to my goals. And if I didn't know, I knew where to go to find out what it was that I needed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, I really do believe that when we really want something as humans, we'll get it. It doesn't matter how we get it. If we Google search it, if we read books about it, if we show up to seminars about it, I don't give a fuck. If you truly want something in the core of your being, you're going to do whatever it takes to get it, and you're going to fucking achieve it. I know it for a fact. So it wasn't that I was paying her to tell me the secrets. I was more so paying her because I know myself, and I know that there were things that there were mental blocks that I was experiencing that were keeping me back from doing the things that I knew that I needed to be doing, like I said, to grow in my business. And so at that point, I didn't hire her because I wanted her to give me the secret sauce. I hired her because I really needed that emotional support of having someone in my corner who's already felt the things that I'm feeling, who's been through what I'm currently going through, and she can kind of hold my hand and guide me through it. Because when you go into any type of new goal alone, it can be so daunting and scary, and your own mind can get in your way. Whereas if you have someone on your side to be like, hey, everything that you're feeling is completely normal. This is a sign that you're on the right track. I really found that it made the difference for me. So she was fabulous. I loved our consultation call. So typically before you get a coach, you hop on a consultation call. Well, first of all, you either slide into their DMs or you go through their application link. You apply to work with them. You fill out the application. Then they hit you up and they're like, hey, can we get on a call so that I can get to know you better? And this is a great opportunity for the coach to kind of like feel you out and what you need and if they're a good fit for you, and for you to feel out the coach and ask yourself like, am I getting good vibes? Is this what I thought it would be? And then if y'all decide that you're a good fit for each other, you can go in and talk about pricing. They tell you their pricing, you buy their package, the coaching begins. But just from our initial call, I just really liked her energy. I felt like she was really professional, really sweet. And then immediately we started working together, and she made me feel so heard and understood. And I'm a pretty stubborn person. If I really want something a certain way, like there's nothing you can tell me that's going to change my mind. And so she kind of like met me where I was at with a lot of the things that I felt hesitant about. And she just asked me great questions to help me better understand what it was that I needed. And at the end of the day, she never told me what to do. She gave me options about paths that I could take on my journey. And she allowed me to decide what path I wanted to take. And for me, that was everything. As a stubborn person, I felt like she really reverse psychologied the fuck out of me, because she was like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And I was like, really? I thought you were going to tell me what to do. So that was my first experience with the coach. And then my second experience with the coach, I hired a coach because I had been following her for like several years actually. And I thought she had a beautiful body transformation. I watched her go through cuts, bulks, cuts again, and I just thought it was so impressive what she was able to do with her physique. And I wanted to hire a coach specifically to help me through a bulk. Again, not because I didn't know how to do the bulk myself, but because I wanted somebody in my corner who's done this before, who's felt the things that I felt, so that I can hold myself accountable, especially if I'm paying money, you know what I mean? The stakes are higher. And I knew that for me, I have a history of disordered eating, so I knew that bulking for me would be a challenge, but a challenge that I was ready to take. And I knew that it was going to be uncomfortable gaining weight, and I didn't want to psych my own self out. Like, I wanted somebody in my corner to be like, bitch, stay on course. And so I got on a call with her. I was actually really excited about the call. And then she assigned me to one of her coaches. And off the bat, I noticed that they weren't as responsive as my first coach. They weren't as thorough as my first coach. And the level of knowledge that they had to give me, I wanted something a little bit more. And so because I already have experience as a coach myself and I know how to do things, I think I expected that they would be a lot more like my first coach and very much like, hey, these are the paths that we can take. How would you like to take it? I think they treated me much more like a beginner with less autonomy. I don't think it was intentional. Like, I think that when I was a younger coach, like 2 years ago, I would have done the same thing, just because it takes a second to like learn the communication skills that you need to be an effective coach. But I wasn't feeling heard. I wasn't really feeling like we meshed, our personalities meshed. And I felt like I was looking for a coach that had years and years of experience, and the coach that she handed me off to didn't have as much experience as I would have liked. So when she spoke to me, I would ask a question, and the question was never to the level that I wanted it to be, like backed by science and as thorough and as like nuanced and meticulous as my first coach. Like, I think I was basically spoiled by my first coach. But to be fair, my first coach was more expensive than my second coach that I got. And so I think I was paying for a higher level. And also, I believe that I wouldn't have learned the style of coaching that I like if I hadn't gone through that second coach. And also, it was a very good lesson of like, don't hire a coach that just because they're hot. Go to their like coaching page, look at the results that they've been able to create for people. Look at the way that they coach and see if you identify with the way that they coach. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think my second coach, I think they would have been a great fit for a more beginner client who knows less about the ins and the outs, and literally you sneeze, you're going to get results. I think I wanted a coach with a little bit more experience working with intermediates to advanced people, and a coach that understood the way that my brain thinks and would be willing to like level with me and kind of do the reverse psychology like thing that my first coach did. Does that make sense? So that was my experience with two coaches. I ended up loving my first coach, and then my second coach, I ended up actually breaking the contract and like just having to pay a fat ass fee because I had signed on for 9 months with them. And literally the first day in, I was like, I don't think this is what I signed up for. So I think that was my bad on my end for not being more careful and choosy and doing my research about the type of coach that I was signing on with. Like, don't blindly sign on with a coach. It's really good to keep a close eye on them, follow them, and see the results that they've been able to create for other people. So I think that I really do think I boo-booed. And then also, I think these coaches were a little bit too hands off for me and just not as thorough, dude. Like, you're paying like what, $200 plus, $300 plus a month to work with somebody, and to feel like their answers are short and not what you're looking. You know what I mean? Like, you can read through the bullshit. Like, you can feel when someone isn't putting their all into you. You know what I mean? Like, with my other coach, I loved being able to like send her messages throughout the day respectfully. Like, I wasn't crazy. And she would answer on her own time. But when she would answer, dude, it was the most thorough, most helpful feedback ever. Like, always. And so, yeah, I think I really was spoiled with that first coach. Sorry, I'm editing, but I just needed to add this in. What I'm trying to say is, you want to get a coach that always knows how to explain to you the why. Every single exercise, every single set, every single rep, every little detail, every calorie adjustment, every amount of cardio that they add, they need to be able to tell you why they think this is the best route, because there will always be 1,000,001 ways to get to the same destination. And each person is so unique. Each person is going to respond so differently based not only on like their genetics and what the fuck their body is doing, but preference. Your coach should be able to somehow account for your preference as well. And I feel like my first coach did a really good job of that, of being like, hey, these are the best routes, but also no plan is perfect. And what's most important is that you're able to stick with it. Whereas my second coach, I think that they didn't yet have the tools to be able to have that type of conversation with me. So when I would like approach them with a concern, I feel like they didn't know how to explore those concerns. You know what I mean? To find a solution together. I feel like they weren't really able to explain to me why we had to do something a certain way, and they weren't able to think of alternative solutions with me. And I think that is really important in a coach, because personality is everything. Preference, your client's preferences is everything. As long as you're able to explain the outcome of their preferences and the outcome of each, like the consequence of each decision that your client makes, and they are on the same page as you and they're aware of those consequences, and they're like, dude, I still think this is the best option for me, fucking run it. That's what I'm trying to say. Your coach should always know the why. Even if you're somebody who doesn't care to know the why, even if you don't even want to listen when your coach tells you the why, get a coach who knows how to tell you the why. I think you'll be able to go a lot further with a coach that can explain to you the why. That's my personal experience as a coach and my personal experience with coaches. But I feel like a lot of other good coaches would tell you the exact same thing. So that was my coaching, my experience with coaches, and what I wish I had done differently, okay? Now, I want to talk to you about my experience as a coach myself. There are 4 types of clients that, in my opinion, have succeeded in coaching. And you don't have to perfectly fit into one of these 4 categories. Maybe you're a combination of them, but they're an enthusiastic beginner. So that's the first type of client. They are the puzzle piecer. They are the commitment keeper, or they are the protege. Those are like the 4 client types that I feel like have succeeded really well with me. So the enthusiastic beginner, somebody who I would characterize like it's their first introduction to fitness, and they decided to go to the source. Whereas I definitely wasn't an enthusiastic beginner, because I didn't get a coach until I knew what the fuck I was doing and I wanted more support. This person, on the other hand, was like, I don't want to figure it out myself. I want your help. They don't even really follow any fitness accounts. Like, maybe I'm their only fitness account that they follow, and they were like, I like you, I choose you, I'm hiring you. And they come in and they're just eager to soak up any piece of information I have to give them. Oftentimes I'll be like, dude, if you're a straight up beginner, don't immediately buy into a coach. But I've had success with like beginners, like never touched a barbell, never stepped foot in the gym. As long as they're enthusiastic and willing to put in the work and their mind is just in it, I don't know what makes things click for certain people and not click for others. But as long as your heart is in it and you're giving me the same energy I'm giving you, you're most likely going to succeed in your goals. Next, we have the puzzle piecer. This is more like me. So I'm a puzzle piecer. Actually, I'm a combination of 2, 3, and 4. But the puzzle piecer is somebody who has done a lot of their own research. They most likely follow a lot of fitness accounts. They most likely have started already dabbling, and they have experience under their belt, but they feel like they've plateaued. They feel like they have all of these moving pieces about They know how to do a fat loss phase. They know how to bulk, but it's almost like they have this mental block that keeps them from putting these puzzle pieces together and actually doing the work. So it's almost like they're that type of person that has like analysis paralysis. They love to research and consume all this information, but they haven't yet applied it. They just need someone on their side to tell them that they're on the right track so they can full send and see results. So I really love working with this type of person because they always come in with so many great questions. So it's really great to be the person who is there to check all of the concerns that they would have had if I wasn't there next to them, that helped them to keep going. It's really nice, you know what I mean? Because when you're doing something like fat loss, building muscle, bulking for the first time, there's a lot of what ifs, and every person is so different. Every person has such a unique body that what works for one isn't going to work for another one. So sometimes they just need somebody to like bounce ideas off of for them to be like, okay, yeah, I am sure about what I'm doing. Does that make sense? Number 3, we have the commitment keeper. This is the person that I feel like works really well with authority. They love the structure of having somebody to report to and having somebody who's counting on them to show the fuck up. So they're not even necessarily the most enthusiastic or the most self-driven. They just love showing up for their coach. And consequently, they're showing up for themselves. So it's like that person that they know how their brain thinks. They know that they like having someone by their side, and that's why they got a coach. I think it just gives them a sense of purpose to show up for their commitments. So I've had some clients who they hired me just to keep me by their side. They're not even necessarily interested in seeing much progress. Maybe they just want to keep the habit of showing up to the gym, so they're going to show up for you. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I think of the commitment keeper. They're kind of just here for the lifestyle of it. They're not really necessarily interested in having the best body or being the strongest. They kind of just need somebody to show up for, and it's almost like a therapy for them, you know? And then number 4, the protege. It's that person who they know what to do. They know how to do it. They just want to do it as maximally and as to the T as possible. So they're going to hire a coach to get them there. This to me is like my ex-athlete. This is like my Olympian. This is like my very competitive person who is like, I know what it takes to get to the top, and I know I have it in me to do it, and I'm so willing to do it, but I want somebody by my side so that I can milk everything as much as possible. So these are the 4 people that I've noticed that work really well with a coach, or at least have worked really well with me. And I find that what these people have in common is that they've kind of already done a lot of the mental work that needs to be done for them to stop getting in their own way. And if you're not there yet, if you feel like you can't really trust yourself, if you feel like you're not really at a place where you know how to keep commitments with yourself, you have a hard time keeping commitments with others, maybe you have a difficult time caring about your physical and your mental health, it might be best for you to start off with reading some books and showing up for yourself in that way. That's how I started. I literally started by reading a shit ton of books. I can tell you some of my favorites. I should honestly make a whole video where I talk about my favorite books that have changed my life. I'm going to do that. One of the first books that I read that kind of helped me start to question the reason why I thought the things that I did about myself, question my identity and what I thought to be true about myself. Like if you're somebody who you talk really negatively about yourself, you feel like you're too lazy, too undisciplined, too unmotivated, you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, you're going to make a fool out of yourself. Like you have all these negative thoughts in your mind. The first book that I recommend for you to read, it's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And that one really helped me. I also started listening to a lot of fitness related podcasts, which really helped me. Danny Matranga's podcast really helped me. Currently, I'm listening to the Know Your Power podcast. Sometimes a beginner who is having trouble getting out of their own way, what they need is to hear stories about how other people who are like them did it. Like you need to hear that it was possible for somebody else in order for you to feel like it's possible for you. And I was one of those people as well in the beginning. Between the ages of 15 to 20, I was on and off with fitness, on and off with my nutrition, on and off with exercising. And it wasn't until I turned 21 that I finally was able to get out of my own fucking way. And it was because of the books that I read and the podcast that I listened to. Okay, so what these 4 people have in common who come in and they're ready to do work is that they've already done a lot of the mental work of like, what the fuck does it take to level the fuck up, to be better than I was yesterday? So these people tend to have a more positive outlook, not only of the world, but of themselves. They know how to fail and fail with swag. Like they know how to fail gracefully. They don't beat themselves up or judge themselves too harshly when they fuck up. Because here's the thing, you will fuck up. That's just how it goes. I fuck up every day. I'm doing a dedicated cut right now and I've fucked up multiple times already. And I'm only like 2 weeks in. So it's not about being perfect. It's about how do I get back on track after a fuck up? What do I do after a fuck up? Do I use that fuck up as a reason to quit? To let the negative thought spirals come in? Oh, I'm not worthy. Like, I'm just not ready for this. I'll start later. You know what I mean? Like all those thoughts come in to try to keep you where you're at, because even though it feels like you're living in a hell, at least it's a comfortable hell that you're familiar with. You know what that type of pain feels like. Whereas going off and trying something new, trying to learn how to lift, trying to learn how to eat better, trying to surround yourself with new people who are on the same path as you, that can all be a really uncomfortable pain that you're unfamiliar with. And just because it's unfamiliar, our minds, there's actually like research psychology to explain this, how our minds prefer a comfortable hell over the discomfort of the unknown, fearing the unknown. What happens when I walk into a gym and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing? You don't know. You already start catastrophizing and assuming the worst. I'm going to look stupid. People are going to laugh at me. I just don't want to look dumb. You know what I mean? People are going to smell that I'm a noob from a mile away. And oftentimes the scenarios that we're playing out in our mind, I think I literally just read a book statistic that was like 95% of the worries and the negative thoughts that people have never actually happen. Isn't that crazy? Like how much we assume the worst. And maybe it's like a way that our brains have evolved to protect us, like preparing for the worst. But there's a good type of caution and there's a harmful type of caution. And I think maturing is being able to distinguish the difference between the two. Am I being cautious because I'm being smart? Or am I being overly cautious and holding myself back and staying in this comfortable hell and keeping myself from becoming the person that I want to become? So what these 4 types of people that work well with me have in mind is that they've done a lot of that mental work necessary. You know what I mean? If you're not there yet, start reading books, bitch. Start listening to podcasts. Literally next week, not next week, but the following week, I'm going to do a video where I talk about podcasts and books that changed my fucking life and helped me fix my fucked up childhood trauma's mind so that I could stop getting out of my own fucking way. Oh, and I should also probably make one of books that are on my reading list. I'm going to sneeze. Woo! Bruh, you cannot tell me that wasn't the most banger video you've ever saw. I'm not even done. I want to add a little bit. The title of this video is Reasons Not to Get a Personal Trainer or an Online Coach. So really, the only reasons that I have for you to not get an online coach is if you're somebody who's not ready to do the work, don't get an online coach. If you're somebody who's really content taking your time getting somewhere and doing your own research to get there, you don't need an online coach. If you're willing to trade in your time in order to see the results that you're looking for, don't get an online coach. If you'd like to get to where you're going more quickly, because you're going right to the source, get an online coach. But just understand that instead of trading your time, you're trading your money. So you kind of got to choose what you want to trade in order to become the person that you're trying to become. But for me, I found a lot of value in like, if I'm giving up my money, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, I'm going to fucking do it. If there's money, if there's ransom over my head, there's $500 a month that I'm giving to somebody. Well, it depends on the coach. $350, $200 a month that I'm giving to somebody. I'm going to show the fuck up, bitch. Damn right. I'm going to show up. You know what I mean? But by no means do you need a coach. I learned, like I said, a majority of what I've learned about fitness on the internet on YouTube. But guess what, bitch? It took me a really long fucking time. I enjoyed every second of it. I don't think I would do it differently personally. Like I said, I'm very stubborn and I like to figure shit out myself, which is why I became a coach myself. But if that's not you, if you're not into watching YouTube videos, if you're not into reading books, if you're not into reading research papers, which if you're not, I think that you can learn to be personally. But if you just need some help getting there, dude, and you're willing to trade in your money to do it, get a coach. It can't hurt, especially if you get a really good one. You can learn a lot. And when you have a little angel of reason in your ear telling you to calm the fuck down and stop getting in your own fucking way, it can be a lot easier to stop the self-sabotage, because let's be honest, the mindset shit is the hardest part. Like I said, we know what to do. We know where to go to get that information. And if we don't know, we can figure it out if we really want to. But two heads always work better than one. We're always going to work better when we ask for help. So that's all I'll say about that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Send it to a friend that you think might like it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to. And don't forget to hit the little notification bell so you can get notified and you never miss when I post. Bitch. Okay, bye.